Don't forget to press the subscribe button and click the bell icon to stay up to date with all our videos.
Hey everyone and welcome. So this project is about Redux. Redux will be really confusing for beginners, but we'll try to simplify it as much as we can. But before we begin, we have a special guest, Nandish. And Nandish, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Dhawan. Thank you. Hey, hi. Hi, everyone. Nandish here from Karnataka. I'm making the more videos with the Israelis, and I'm sure you guys will learn a lot by the Israelis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nandish. So,
Yeah.
what exactly is Redux? So, Redux, it handles the complete state of the application. This should be the definition of it. And you cannot directly update the state. There has to be a procedure to update a state. So I can completely get it if you don't understand what exactly this means, because this is a complex thing. When you will get a better idea when we go to the examples of it. So let's go to this stage. So this is an example of a state, right?
Yeah, I have to interfere here. So,
Okay.
what exactly the state meaning here?
Okay, so exactly the meaning of state is that state is simply an object
Okay.
which could be as small as this one, and it could be even larger than that. So Redux
Okay.
was,
Okay.
yeah, so Redux was introduced for this reason that when the state gets larger, it becomes hard to manage, and that thing is being simplified by Redux. So let's take a look at a simple example here. Let's say I want to withdraw my money from my bank. It's not technically my bank, but it's from the bank where I have invested or kept my money. So there is a bank. I need to go there, and we are not talking about the online transactions or something. We will be walking into a bank and taking our money from there, right? Or withdrawing our money. So what I need to do? There is a vault right there. I cannot directly go ahead and take my money, though it's my money. It's completely mine, right? So I can take it whenever I want. I cannot go to the vault directly. I need to follow a procedure. I need to talk to a cashier or a person who is responsible for it, right? In our case, it is a cashier. So I go to the cashier, and what do I do? I know that I need to withdraw money. So I need to tell him that I need to withdraw. And what is he going to ask? How much do you want to withdraw, right? So instead of that, what I do here is that I give him a paper, let's say something like this, that I want to withdraw, and I want to withdraw $300, right? In my account, let's say I have $1,000. So what is the cashier going to do? Going to take my paper and go to my vault, withdraw $300 and give it back to me. My state will be changed to $700, right? So that is exactly how Redux will work. You don't, if you don't really get the Redux, because we haven't gone into the technical part yet, this is a simple procedure how the Redux will work, right? So Nandish, do you have any
Mean,
questions here?
uh, yeah. So, means here just you're showing an example of real time, how it will work in the real time, real lifetime working, right?
Correct,
Redux.
correct.
Okay. Okay, so the then why this is just processor we have, right? I mean, from we are going to the cashier, from cashier to the vault. So then how why is the Redux here we are using? Because we have a step by step is there, right? So why the Redux we are using if we have a complicate?
Correct. So this is a really simple example, right? But Redux, as already told by the creator of Redux, you don't necessarily need to use Redux every time. But when the state of the application becomes larger, and sometimes it becomes not like impossible but difficult to manage, that is when Redux will come into like come to help you. So let me show you an example here. So the problem which we are trying to solve here is that whenever we don't use Redux, the state or a single source of truth is nowhere, right? So you need to jump around between different places in your. So let's take these circles as a component example. So anytime if I change something here, I need to pass it to another component to let them know that this state has been changed, right? So when you are using Redux, it is different. Anything that changes into a component, it is directly been updated into a store. And store, on every update, it passes the new information into the components. So that is how Redux works. So
Okay, so store means I have to interfere, yeah,
no
because
worries.
store means it's just a state, right?
Correct. Store is just an object. It's a single source of truth for the complete application.
Okay, got it now.
Okay, perfect. So this is how it looks like when you are not using Redux. If a lot of people here, if they are using React, they must be aware that whenever you want to pass an item or an object from one component to other, let's say there are multiple childs in it. So this is how you do it, from a parent to your child, child to another child to another child. So it becomes like a spaghetti code here. Instead of
Okay,
that, if you are using Redux, you can directly call the store, the global state, from your child component and directly update whatever you want in that particular component. So that's an
okay,
example of like a good thing which Redux does, and it makes the code more manageable and the state more manageable and cleaner. Okay,
okay. So
so
can I tell what I understood now with Redux and without Redux now?
sure, yes, go ahead.
So without Redux means we have to communicate between the components. For example, we have a one parent child, one parent component and a child component again, one more child component means we have to communicate all the components, right? From child to child, child to child, child to component again to parent.
Correct,
But with the Redux means directly from child component to communicate to the store or state, right?
correct.
Okay, then the simple way it will come. Okay, yeah, I understood now. Thank you.
Correct, correct, perfect. So that's an introduction of Redux. In the next videos, we'll get dive deeper into more parts of Redux. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So in the last video, we watched the introduction to Redux, and in this video, we'll talk about the three important parts of Redux. So the three important parts are store, actions, and reducer. Let's go into like slight details. What is a store? A store holds the whole state tree of your application. The only way to change the state inside is to dispatch an action on it. So, to understand it in a simple way, a store is just an object. Store holds the whole state of an object, of the complete application, and it is said that the only way to change it is to dispatch. So there is a function inside store which you need to call. It's called store.dispatch, and in that dispatch you need to have an action. So what thing you need to do, but we'll go into details in the next videos. So right now you just need to understand this, that store is the complete object. An example could be something like this. Next thing we can see here is an example how you will create a store. Store will need to have a parameter of reducer always. So this will have the complete reducers in it. So this is how you import, create store, and this is a reducer, and this is how you initialize a store here. Okay, so what is an action? So actions are payload of information that send data from your application to your store. So every time you need to have a interaction with your store, right? So for that reason, an action is used. Action will have an information of which actions it needs to take and also what needs to be changed as well. So there are the only source of information for the store. They are the only source of information for the store, and you can send them to the store using store.dispatch. So as we mentioned before in uh, the store explanation, that dispatch is a function which is attached to the store, and whenever you call store.dispatch, it is going to dispatch an action. It is going to take a parameter, which is action, and also the previous state of the store. Okay, so if we go to the next part, is that what exactly is action? So action is just a piece of information to read from or update the store. So in simple terms, it will take in two two items always. Type is a must have, and a payload is optional. But payload is something which you send, that what information you want to change, or something like what needs to be changed into the store. Okay, so what is an example of an action? So this is how an action will look like. So it is a simple object which will have a type, and as we saw before, type is a must, and the next item is a payload. So that's a text. Okay, so what is reducer? A reducer is a function that determines the change in an application state. It uses the action it received to determine this change. So reducer is a simple or a pure function, and its only thing to do is to take in the action, and in the action, whenever you pass in a type, or not whenever, you are always supposed to pass in a type, right? So whichever type you pass in, it determines the next procedure it needs to do. So reducer will kind of change the store if it needs to, based on the type of the action. In a simple way, if we see here, is that reducer will receive a dispatch. So store.dispatch, it will have the current state, it will have the action item, and action will have type as well as the payload. It goes into the reducer, and it will change the store, and it will update the new state, right? So Nandish, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, perfect. So can you, based on this explanation, can you tell what were the stores, reducer, and actions in our previous example about banking?
Yeah, sure. With the bank application, bank
Ye-
example.
yes, in this example, which is a store, which is a reducer, and which is an action?
Yeah, sure. That I will explain what I understand now. So now here we have in the left side we have a person, right?
Yes,
That is might be an action,
correct. So the withdraw and
right?
$300 is an action.
It's an
Because
action.
correct.
So and the cashier is the reducer.
Why?
Sorry.
What makes you think that cashier is a reducer?
Uh, because no, in the bank of, example also. So we have a store, right? We have a store. Means that is store means like a money vault, right?
Correct.
So from the here we can't go directly to catch the store, right?
Correct.
We have some procedure to go and contact a cashier, and go to the cashier will go to the vault, and he will take the money, withdraw money to us, like that. Action also will go to the reducer first. So reducer will contact the store how much what we need. So from there again we'll come back.
Correct. So let's say the mechanism, how it will look like, is going to look something like this. So from a React component, it goes to action. From action, it goes to store. From store, it is dispatched. This action has been dispatched to reducer, and reducer does the necessary function. It goes to store, and from as soon as the store is updated, it goes to the React component, right?
Yes.
So Nandish, can you explain it? Here is a button which says withdraw $200. Whenever I click on this one, I want my balance to be updated. Can you explain the mechanism here?
Yeah, sure. I will explain now. So React means that is like a one component, right?
Correct.
So in that we have a withdraw $200, that we have a one button. So if I click on that, I will click on that button. So dispatch will work out. I mean, dispatch will store the dispatch, that will be work as an action. So that time we are passing as two arguments. That is, one is type and the payload.
But what
type
will be
is
in the
withdraw
action?
money, and the payload.
What will be the action?
Action will debited the $200, $200. with the type, yeah, amount is 200 and type is withdraw money,
Correct. So that's a
right?
simple
So
object which we need to pass, right?
yeah, simple object. I mean, to store in the state, so the it will go there. So from the action, from store or dispatch, it will go to the store. In the store, we have a thousand. I mean, balance we have a thousand, right?
Correct. Correct.
So from the store, again, we are going to the reducer. In the reducer, what will happen? Reducer will reduce the money. Means I want to dispatch the 200 and the balance is 1,000. So minus it will do. I mean, reducer will deduct from the store. So we are getting a $200 and balance will be 800.
Correct. Correct. So that's how it works. And whenever this procedure is done, the new component will show $800 based on the state. So that's how it works, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Perfect. So this is the mechanism of Redux, how it works in the code. If you guys don't, if you guys have any issue, if you don't have, that's fine. But if you have any issue, then you can send us an email. The email has been in the description below. And also you can comment us what issues and where exactly you have problems with. And from the next video onwards, we'll look into the examples. So we'll dive into the code. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thanks to everyone. Bye bye.
Okay, so we have the basic boilerplate of React here, and also we have installed installed Redux. So if you don't know how to install it, you just need to install it from the documentation yarn add Redux. So this is the core project which we are working on. This is not a React Redux or Redux Saga library, right? So let's go ahead and see what exactly we are building. So this is the application which we will be building. So balance will be $1,000 initial balance, and then if you click on the add button, it should increment 300, and if you withdraw it, it should decrement 500. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a couple of files here. So store index.js, we'll create another reducer dot slash index.js. So we won't be writing anything here right now because I want to show you how to do it from the index. So let's go ahead and have this import the store here. So if you go to the documentation, so there are the three main methods: get, state, dispatch, and subscribe, which we will be using right now. So let's go ahead to the code. So this is how you import the store, right? Create store, and then you initialize the store with create store. Okay, let me copy and paste the code. And okay, if you don't know what exactly this to do is, this is a reducer, which we talked about before. So let's clear this up and create another constant, which is a reducer. And this will be a function, and it should return a state. Right now, in order to simplify and not show the error, we are doing this. So state and reducer. Okay, so Nandish, what is the next thing we need to pass in the create store?
Initial state.
Exactly. So let's say the initial state balance is $1,000, right? So now,
Yeah.
correct. So now if I want to show it, or if I want to get the data from the store, how can I do it in my app.js?
We need to import
Okay, import what?
import of store.
Okay, from, let's say,
From index.
Okay, and will I get store here?
Yeah. Showroom.
Okay, and what do I need to do next? Console?
Yeah. Console of store dot get state.
Get state. Okay, so what is this function for?
Get the initial state, the value, right?
Correct. So this get state will give you the complete state of the application. So
Application, yes.
do you think we'll get something here, or it's going to be nothing?
We will get balance we added, right? Some value that will show in the console.
You are talking about this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's give it a try then.
Yeah, sure.
So if I go into here, so what is this? Why is this thing? Do you think we missed something?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Correct. So we need to export first of all, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
export constant store, and now it should give us a balance of 1,000 in our console log.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there will be a balance of $1,000. Perfect. So now what we do here is that in our app.js, where is the app? Okay, here I will change it to something like this. Div balance and div. Maybe I can name it as a constant balance, and I can call it balance, and I'll have another button just to go forward with this. So button deposit 300. I won't just write dollar, and next one will be withdraw 500, right? So let's go ahead and check what exactly we got. So it's showing 1,000, right? So if I change the store, initial store to 5,000, it's going to show me 5,000, right? Okay,
Yes.
great, great. So in order to update, what do I need to do? First of all, let me do one thing. Let me use this subscribe thing. So anytime if something changes, we want the UI to be updated, right? So constant render. Anytime a store changes, we want the UI to be updated. So this is what we want. Return, and we'll call the render for the first time. So render, we had it as a function, have it as a function now, and we are calling it for the first time. And then what we do is that store dot subscribe, and in this one we'll pass in the function. So render. Okay, great. And what we need to do here is that now the thing is that in our store, in order to update the store, we need to dispatch an action. An action, as you already know, is just an object, right? Action is just an object of instruction, like we discussed before, that it's just a piece of paper which should have a type. Action must have a type and can have a payload. So payload in our case, what do you think will be the payload?
Type
Type is
one is
a type is let me put it in this way. So type, we will what will be the type?
withdraw
Correct, withdraw. And what will be the payload? What do you think will be the payload?
300 something.
300. So payload is the amount, right? So amount
Yeah.
which we want to withdraw or deposit, right? So
Yes.
that's what we can call it whatever we want, but it's this is the payload. Okay. So now the thing is that let's on click of the button we would like to dispatch the action, right? So function deposit and store dot dispatch. This is how you call the reducers. Right now we haven't created the reducers, but this is how we do it. So in this one, in the dispatch one, we will have an object. Type will be withdraw, and amount will be, let's say, 500, right? And another one will be, oh, I named it differently, withdraw and deposit. So deposit will be 300. Okay, great. So now the thing is that we need to call these functions here. So on click deposit and on click okay, let me pause the video and I'll check back in some time. Next function is withdraw. So withdraw and let's see what happens here. So first of all, in our store, if I go into my reducer here, it's in correct. So anytime we dispatch an action, it is going to come over here. So console log, let's say action, and we'll have another function which will be action, right? And dispatch action console log action. Let's see what do we have here. So we get a weird type dispatch action. So it's looking something like this, right? So let's do this. Click on deposit. We have a deposit and the amount is 300. If we do a withdraw, we have a withdraw and the amount is 500, right? So in short, anytime if I dispatch an action, it is coming to my reducer. So what I need to do here is that I need to have a switch statement which is going to identify the action. So in order to do that, I'll have something like this, switch and action dot type. Here case will be withdraw. And what do we need to do when the case is withdraw? When the action type is withdraw, we need to reduce the amount, right? So return state. So first of all, let's do this. State. Let's see what do we get in the state, and then we'll talk about the rest. Case, but we'll have another deposit and console of state, return state, default, return state. So anytime if it doesn't identify the type, it is going to have a return default state. Okay, so let's go to the page and check it. All right, so if I deposit, balance will be 5,000. Balance will be 5,000. So what I do here is that instead of the state, I'll do this as state dot balance minus the action dot amount, and I'll do the same thing here as plus. But now there's an issue that I'm returning it as a type of it's a different type, right? So let's go ahead and check it. So if I return, the state will be different. So it is going to give us it's an undefined thing. It's an NaN, right? So the state, we kind of messed it up. So what we need to do here is that we can return this balance, or we can do a state null. But the thing is that, okay, so if we are having an object in the initial state, in every case, it will be an object. So in order to update this particular object, you need to return an object. So balance will be state.balance minus the action amount, and deposit will be state.balance plus the action amount. So if you take a look at the example here, deposit, it is incrementing by 300, and withdraw, we are withdrawing it by 500. So this was the example for this. It's a small project, but the next project which we'll do is about the contact list, as well as saving the note into the same reducer or same store, right? And for that reason, we'll be having multiple reducers. So we'll take care of that in the next video. Okay, so for the next project, what we are going to do here is that we'll be building a contact book as well as a note keeping book in just one application. So this is more to get an idea how to have a big object inside of your state, so or inside of your store. So Nandish, can you think of which are the objects that we will have here in the store?
Object. Yeah. First one is dispatch. We need to add it.
Correct, but which are the there will be how many reducers we'll need here?
Two. One for the contact and one for the nodes.
Correct. And in the context, what we will have?
For the reducer.
Yes, in the not in the reducer, but in the store. In the context store state, what exactly data we will have?
Data what will input there. I think for initially it will be null.
Correct.
So once we enter the data something in the input, so then we click on the add.
Correct.
That time we need to do the store.dispatch. So it will change automatically it will change the state, right?
Correct. So the state will be
yeah.
You'll add
It will
Go ahead.
yeah. Then it will be add the data in the details. I mean it will change the state when we click on that.
Exactly. So you'll in the contact list it will be just the name of the people, and you will have a delete functionality which we'll talk about it later, and in the notes it will be kind of the same thing. So there will be two objects and both of them containing data in it. So let's go ahead and look at the project. So if you see here, I have kind of imported everything from the last project. I've created a new project which is notes app, and I have also installed Redux. So if you don't know how to install Redux, you just need to do a yarn
Add Redux.
So this is the command to add Redux. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the code part. So in our src, in our index, we have initialized the store with the create store, and we have a reducer as well. And this is the exact same thing which we had in the previous video, withdraw and deposit. We don't need withdraw and deposit. We need multiple reducers. One will be for the contact and another will be for the nodes. So let's go ahead and check what exactly is combined reducer here. So combined reducer. So as your app grows more complex, you'll need to split your reducing function into separate functions, each managing independent part of the state, right? So right now our app grew from just a balance object to two different states, which are, let's say, contacts, and it will be an array, and another one will be nodes, and this will be an array as well. This is how it will be, right? So let's go ahead and create two separate reducers. So I'll copy and paste this one and 2. So contacts reducer, this is how we name it, and we'll have another as nodes reducer. And now we need to do is to combine the reducer. So how are we going to combine it? Root reducer, combine reducer, and you need to have an object. You can name whatever you want here. So let's do this. Combine reducer will be nodes and nodes reducer, contacts, and will be contacts reducer. Okay, and here what we will do is a root reducer will have constant. We need to import combine reducer, and it will come from Redux. So combine reducer, and you pass in the root reducer here. So now Nandish, what do you think will be in my store get data?
So yeah, get data. Yeah. So this one, right? Combined reducer.
Correct. So in the combined, it will be combined reducer, right? So if I do a console log here, log and state, state, what should I get? So we have an array of contacts and nodes, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now let's say I have an input here. I am deleting each and everything from here because we don't need it. And I'll have a input and have a placeholder, enter name, and have a button. This will be add name. So let's say the value is, I have initialized the value. Value is equal to Donald Trump. Okay. So if I click on this, I want to add it into my, what we can say, the name reducer. How to do that? Let's say add name. This is a function. So what exactly do I need to do here? I need to dispatch a store, right? Or dispatch an action via store. So add name, this will be the type, and name, we will change this to a state. So Donald Trump, and we'll assign it to this one. So on click, and this will be okay, add name. Fine. So right now this thing will do nothing because we don't have an add name here. So instead of this, what I'll do is add name and return, or I should say state.push. State.push. And here if we do the let's just do the name. So action dot, is it name or what? Name, yes. Name. And we can do break. Let's see what do we get. Oh no, it should be return state, because this is a non-mutable run, right? So we need to have a action dot name. That's what we do it. We don't need a break, and add name should add the name of the person. So in order to see it, we need to go here, and what I'll do is instead of state, I'll have notes and context. JSON.stringify context. State is not defined. I'll remove this, and we should be able to see an empty array right now. Empty array, and if I add, it was supposed to add it to this item. So let's see why is it not happening. So add name, store.dispatch, type is add name, name is Donald Trump. Okay, so add name, action context reducer, we add it to the state and action.name. Let's see if we are even calling this. So contact console log action. Let's go here and check it. Provided value, that's fine. Add name. Okay, we have an add name and the name is Donald Trump, but we are not adding to it. So are we context reducer and we're displaying the right items? contacts, right? So let's see console log contacts. Let's see what do we get in the contacts. Oh, okay, we have. That's so strange. Okay, let's try to redo it. And initially it is empty. If I add an item to it, it's going to be Donald Trump, and if I refresh it, it's going to show me that. Not if I refresh, but if I save the changes again, it's going to show me that it has been added, I guess. So the reason here could be that it's not rendering on state change. So constant render equals to render, and we call render for the first time, and store dot subscribe, and this will update on every render. So if we go into this one, let's say I add, perfect, so it's adding. So this is what we needed to do whenever this is required, store.subscribe, to update the page whenever we add a new item to it. Okay, so the same thing we will do for the note section here. In note section, let's have the same input and the button for our contacts, and I'll place it here, and let's remove the name or the value and have a add note. Add note and place number placeholder will be enter note and notes, because that's the name of our store. Okay, so now we have like the name and the notes. But before that, what I would like to do here is that this is more of a like a mixed up code. We have store, reducer, and even the actions at one place. So Nandish, can you suggest what would be a better option here?
So better option. So we have to create a reducer slash index, and
Okay.
yeah, we have to create reducer slash index, and one for store also we have to create like that. And whatever we have a store code in that, so we have to add in the store index.js.
Correct. So we need to separate everything just to make it more readable and more manageable, right? So
Understandable, yeah, right.
yes. So reducer, store, and actions are the three things which we need. So actions slash index.js. So as we discussed before, tell me again what exactly is action.
Actions, it will change the state, right? When we have to do the dispatch, so it will change the state.
Correct. And what will be the type of it? What will it be?
Yeah, type and the payload for the action.
Correct. So
that is a mandatory. Type is a mandatory, and payload depends on the requirement.
Correct. So actions are always object, right? An object.
Yes.
But here there is a bit different, because here we need to have an action creator. So what is the difference between action creator and action? Is that action creator is a function which returns an object. So action is an object, and action creator is a function which returns an object. So which returns. So here what we will have is that constant, let's say, which is the action in our app.js. Let's start with action. So this store.dispatch, and it has the action here, right? So in order to get this object, let's say, what if we have a function? So store.dispatch, and then inside of dispatch we have a function which is going to return this object. So let's say, let's name it as add name. And what will be the variable here? So variable should be the name always, right? Or the payload. Type should stay the constant, every time in an action, but the variable will always be payload. So let's say here we add in name. right? And name, we will make it as a state. So we have not created a function yet. So let's create a function first of all in our actions, which will say constant add name is equal to, and this is, we have an arrow function here, and in this one, as we showed before, it is going to take a name, right? So in that case, we'll have a name here, name, and what are we supposed to return? We return an object. An object is going to have type. What is the type? Add name. And what is the name? Name will be name, right? So this is what we have done here. And so it's going to return this object. So let's try to export this first. So that's how we'll import it. So export constant add name, and in my app.js I'll import it. So app name, add name will be this, and we don't have a name yet. So here I'll have a, let's say I'll keep name of Nandish, and if I add it, it is supposed to go into my array, right? So if I add, so Donald Trump, and second one is Nandish. So let's try again. So there are two items. Oh, okay, because there are two dispatches happening, right? So we just want one dispatch because we already have a variable. So, okay, perfect. Now what we need to do in the store is that this is just going to be copy and paste from our app. So we are going to take in from our index, sorry. So I'll take the create store. Let me make this bigger. So okay, so from our index, I'm going to take in this line in our store. We put it here. From index, I'm going to take in, we don't need root reducer. All we need is the store, export store, right? So I'll have a export constant store, but now the thing is, this is a requirement, right? So reducer is required. For that one, what I'll do is, in my reducer, I'll add these items, the reducer related stuff. So the contact reducer and notes reducer, these are the two items which I want. So 1 and 2. So for each reducer, I can even have a separate file which is going to say that this is a contact reducer, something like this. .js, and it should work, right? But right now we don't really care too much about that. So okay, I'll have a export constant root reducer, and we need to import combined reducer. So okay, perfect. This is working fine. Let's say export. Here we need to import root reducer, and things should work as we were expecting it to work. So let's see. Let's go ahead and try to see if things are working. And add. Okay, so it seems it is working well. Now the thing is that in our store or in our reducer, here what I want is that instead of like a regular name, instead of an object, I want it to be sent as an object instead of just a string. So name will be action dot name, right? So I'll have the same thing in my, this is a add name, right? So next thing here should be delete name, though we are not going to work on this, but yes, right now we can have it as a delete name. And okay, we'll just return state here, state, then state. Okay, and here it will be notes reducer, so add note, and what we can do here is a return state, and note will be action dot note. Okay, we don't really have the delete note right now, so I'll simply remove this. And Yes, this should work. And let's see, let me add an item to this. So it is Nandish still. So action. Okay, let me try to refresh this. State. Okay, add name. It's in my contacts. So contacts dot action dot name. Is there an issue? Let me verify if there is. Oh, no, but okay. But still, it should. It is having a name, and we are passing it as a add name, and the reducer is changing it into add name. It should change it to an array. Okay, so add name. Everything should be working. Oh, but one thing is that I think I forgot to delete those reducers. The old reducers, I need to delete it, and yes, I didn't do that. Okay, so I'll simply delete this. I don't need this one as well. Store I can import directly from import from our store. And one more thing here I need to do is that inside our app, this is not being coming. It's not coming from index, right? So this store is coming directly store from store, right? So now it should be name and Nandish. So add. This is strange. So let me go back. Let me try to refresh first of all. Okay. So name and Nandish. So this is working as we are expecting it to work. So next time we can have it on in like we'll do one thing that make this UI a little better, not like a really good one, but just more readable. So I'll be importing the app CSS, and I'll simply copy and paste what I have here, and I'll be providing you what exactly this code is. So you can just simply copy and paste it. So it has a few classes which I want. So one is the button input, contact details, which we won't be using, but at least we can use the box. Okay, so I can go back to my app, and here I am going to create a div, and inside of this div I'll have these items, and I'll give it a class name of box. So let's see how it looks like. Okay, it comes in one line, and which is exactly what we are expecting it to be. So div, we want this JSON or stringify should be in another line as well. We'll create a map, but right now it's just going to be on a different line. And what we want here is that exactly same thing should happen with the notes. And add note, and what we don't have an add name here, right? So add note and notes. Okay, perfect. So there are two items which we have here, and inside of the add note we'll have another function. And so in order to create that, I need to go into my reducer in my actions and have a add note, and here will be the note description. Type will be add note, and we can just have a note description here. Okay, so if we go into the reducer, I need to create a new one, which we already did, right? So note and note description, because the names should match here. So note description, I'll go in my reducer, put in note description and actions dot note description. Okay, so now the thing is that if I add something, it should go into my note description, add note. Let's see if it goes into our notes reducer. So anything happens to this reducer, it's going to update this state, right? And this is the state which is going to be updated, and will have a this state updated. So let me show you by example. So if I go into my add note add notes is going to be, right now we'll just have our description. This is a note. It's just a static one. We'll make it more dynamic. And instead of this, I'll just import the add note. Instead of having to use this action, I'll use the store dispatch and add note. Is it being exported, or export constant add note? Yes, we are exporting it. So add note. Okay, let me add note, and it's going to take in this note. And let's see, if I click on add note, it is adding to the wrong reducer, right? So add note is add note. This is a note. Where is the action? Action is add note and note description. Okay, so let's go to the reducer and see what is happening. Maybe I need to refresh this, and okay, so yeah, there was the issue. So this is not dynamic, right? So right now it is just based on what I have added. So in order to make it dynamic, what I need to do is that in my app, I'll have one more thing. So constant, this will be the state of this particular application. So there are two different states we are managing. One is the Redux state, and this is the app's local state. So notes and set note, we'll just have a note, use state, and it will be imported from Redux, from React, and anytime if we add it, it's going to be note. And
use state is the React hooks, right?
Yes, use state is React hooks.
Yeah.
So on change is going to be event and set note e.target.value. So anytime if we add something, it's going to be the state. So if I type in something in this input, it is going to update the local state. So let me show you that note. And the same way we will have another one, which is the contacts. So contact name and set contact name, and in the input we'll have not a class name but on change event. Let me copy and paste the whole thing. This thing, it sometimes it's really annoying. Okay, set contact name. Okay, this was the contact name. Okay, let's refresh, and Donald Trump is not supposed to be the value, and even here it should be okay. Okay, hello, and this is no. Okay, so now it's more dynamic, and still this Nandish, we need to change it to contact name.
Dynamic.
Yeah. And yeah, this should be fine. Okay, yeah, so this is working, and we can make more modifications to this, that whenever once the name is added, we can clear the field, or once the note is added, we can clear the field, and after we can make a better looking UI, which I'll be showing you in the description, and not in the description, and in just a bit. But that's what we expect you guys to work on. But this video is more specific about understanding Redux, right? So that's the reason we are going to conclude this video at this stage. And if you have, let me summarize what we did in this project. So we had two reducers, and two reducers are usually like two big objects. So nodes has its own entity, like it could be array or object. So right now it is an array. Context has its own array. So you can, in the similar way, you can keep going as much as you want here and make more objects or make more arrays or have more data here. And you can do it with combined reducer. So when the application state becomes too large, combined reducers help us in this place. So yes, this was the attempt to make you familiar with what exactly Redux is. And the next videos will be targeting more about complex libraries with Redux, like Redux Saga, React Redux, and those kind of stuff, and will be more of a Mon stack project. So Nandish, do you have any questions at this point?
Right now, no, but yeah, we are we giving any task to them by the video?
Yes. So the task for the people here is that we would like you, we will be providing you the UI, what exactly we are expecting. After that, we'll like you guys to work on the delete functionality as well as the edit functionality. So let's say I have added like some names into it, and let me open my After Effects. Just a second. So this is the final output we would like to expect, and there should be a delete functionality and also an edit functionality. So delete should be in place. It should not change the order, neither from the contacts one and neither from the notes one. And also it should not, this line should not go beyond the place. It should stay in the same line, and if there is a long name, it should go in the next line. Now the thing is that for the edit button, there will be an edit button which we would like you guys to work on. And once I click on the edit button, this content, it goes into the text input. Similar way here, the content, it goes into the text input, and if I edit, that particular item should be edited. Try to work on this project. Let us know if you have any difficulty doing it. And once you are successfully able to do it, send us the code on GitHub, and you might get a surprise and also some shout out on our Instagram. So let us know in the comment section, how did you like this video? If you don't understand it, if you have any feedback, also let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to press the like button. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe it. And thank you very much, Nandish, for the help. And I'll see
Thank
you
you.
all next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Bye.